Deepwater Horizon is the new Peter Berg action thriller / drama film based off the 2010 real-life events of the Deepwater Horizon oil rig exploding. This movie tries to put you in the mindsets of what the workers, for example Mark Wahlberg, Kurt Russell, Dylan O'Brien, actually went through during these events, what happened leading up to it, and maybe what could have been done to prevent it. I was really excited for this movie because Peter Berg I really appreciate as a director. Yes, say whatever you want about Battleship. I've said some things too. I think it's a guilty pleasure even though it is a bad movie, but really why I love Peter Berg so much is his other films. One of them, Lone Survivor, which is an incredible based on true events film starring Mark Wahlberg, and when I heard that he and Wahlberg would be re-teaming to do this movie, I instantly got excited, and I walked out of this movie blown away. I kind of knew going in that direction-wise, this movie was going to be good because I do like Peter Berg, but I didn't know how good it was going to be. And I don't just mean cinematography-wise, which, by the way, it does look good. My eyes were glued to the screen the whole time. But what I really loved about this movie was a combination of the stunts, the visual effects, and the sound design. These three things came together to create a movie experience that literally feels like you're being gut-punched by Hellboy and Thanos at the same time. When the oil rig actually does start to explode and oil's going everywhere, I literally just felt antsy in my seat. I was so nervous watching this movie because I felt like I had been transported with these people on the Deepwater Horizon oil rig. That's how immersive the experience of this movie was, and that's really why I appreciate the direction by Peter Berg in this movie. I know he probably won't get any Oscar consideration, which is kind of a bummer, but if I had any control with the Oscars, Deepwater Horizon would be nominated for like several things. It's very rare where you have a movie that's actually so effective with just sound design and stunt work that it actually makes you feel like you're there with these people, not knowing what to do, what's going to happen next. Because I actually do remember seeing these events on TV back in 2010, and I saw it and I was like, oh, it's on fire, that's bad. But after watching this movie, I finally understand how bad it actually was. I honestly don't understand how these people were able to survive this incident, but they did, and it's amazing. So I could praise the technical aspects of this movie for days, but another thing I really want to praise this movie on is how they explain some of the events leading up to this thing. You don't have to be like a genius to understand what's happening. They actually do find a way to simplify it for audiences without overly explaining it in the movie. The best way I could describe it, it's like when The Martian, their science, they didn't need to explain it. The way they presented it, you could just click with. It's the same thing with this movie. One example of this, which I loved, if you saw the teaser trailer for this movie, it's the Coke and the honey bit, which it's great. Now what really could have sunk in this movie from being amazing was its characters. If they were done the wrong way, if they just came across as bland and uninteresting, this movie wouldn't have been as impactful. However, Peter Berg proves himself to be a frickin' genius, and we actually have likable characters to follow, so when these events actually happen, you feel really scared for them. For example, some of the worker characters, Dylan O'Brien being one of them, I didn't really expect them to be fleshed out as much. I didn't really expect them to focus on them all too much, but they did it enough so that you actually had a connection with them and you liked what they were doing, so that when the events happen and the oil starts pumping out, which, by the way, the first scene where the oil is coming out, it's, oh my god, it's heart-stopping. You actually do feel really scared for these people and you want them to get away from this oil rig. You want them to get out of this situation in general. And Mark Wahlberg, once again, he and Peter Berg work wonders. He was great in Lone Survival, and he was great in this movie. Not only did they actually make us care about what's happening with his family, more on that later, but they also gave him little mannerisms and quirks to his personality, so that instead of it just being, oh, he was a worker on the Deepwater Horizon who had a family, they add in these quirks and mannerisms so that you can kind of connect with them. For example, he has a little OCD thing going on with his stuff, and if you mess with it and it's moved the wrong way, he'll get really pissed off. I know some people who are like that. In fact, I'm kind of like that. I like my stuff in very specific places, and when it moves, I kind of freak out. So I actually kind of connected with Mark Wahlberg on that, and as I've mentioned multiple times, as soon as you get connected with the characters more, you feel really bad for them when certain events take place. And I rooted for Mark Wahlberg's character multiple times because he has a family to get back to, which they also make work in this movie. Sometimes they'll show the family real quick, and then they'll just kind of leave that over there. But with this movie, they actually make you feel kind of emotional about his family. Like Kate Hudson, when she actually finds out about what's happening on the oil rig, you can't help but actually feel kind of moved by her performance. Because it kind of clicks with you, the trauma that some people were facing at that time in real life, finding out that someone they loved or someone they knew was on there and they might die. In fact, there are many moments in this movie that make you feel really emotional. There's one scene for me in particular near the end of the movie that just really hit me hard, and that Kate Hudson moment is another one of those. Two other people I also liked in this movie, Kurt Russell, he's freaking awesome, and I like seeing him in this movie. He was a very likable character. And also John Malkovich shows up as the creepy Slimo BP guy, and I also really liked him in this movie. And I really liked his performance in this movie because usually in based off true events films, when you have characters come off as really douchey, it kind of feels unrealistic because you're like, well, there's no way that he could just act like this evil. No one really acts this evil, right? And it kind of made me think, did the actual real-life guy act like the way John Malkovich was portraying him? Because in the movie, they make it feel realistic. Yes, John Malkovich is a total douche. He's a Slimo, but it's in a realistic sense. He is with BP. He has corporate on the brain trying to make money, so his douchiness actually feels really realistic instead of over the top and generic. If I had to have a flaw with this movie, it's that the first hour, not that it's horrible, it's actually really well done because it's important information to learn about the characters, they flesh them out, and it's good. My only problem with it is that near the end of it, like in 10-15 minutes, I could kind of feel the pace of it, like, okay, maybe can we pick it up just a little bit, but that's pretty much it. Deepwater Horizon overall is one incredible movie. If you did not get the chance to see this movie, which a lot of people didn't, it's technically a box office flop, please check out Deepwater Horizon. You will not regret it. It is one of the most emotional, nerve-wracking, immersive films of the whole year. I'm gonna give Deepwater Horizon an A. It has likable characters. It has great sound design, great visuals, great cinematography. Overall, this is another great movie from Peter Berg, and I can't wait to see his next movie with Mark Wahlberg, Patriots Day. But what did you think of Deepwater Horizon? Leave in the comments below what you thought of it, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher, and I finally got Rogue One tickets. If you saw my video from last night, don't worry, I got the tickets, thank God. See you guys next time.